Hi folks, back garden update, 31st of August 2014. Hope you all had a good summer. Is butternut squash. I enjoy having squashes. I had loads last year. I thought I was going to get loads this year, but August has been really cloudy and cold. Not the best selection of squashes either. I went for Crown Prince last year, which is this one over here. It gets enormous, but even these giants aren't setting fruit because of I believe the bad August. But we'll see. Well, probably bad gardening on my part. But I'm hoping to get some big ones later this September. Later in September is a fennel. This sorrel, this has been a good cropper. I've been cutting this all the time for soups and stews. It's perennial green. It is. It's got oxalic acid, so if you've got gout like I have, don't have too much. This is Chinese chives or garlic chives. Perennial. Nice tasting, but they're quite small. These are Egyptian onions. They're sort of like a nursery bed I've got going here. Clover for nitrogen, green manure. More Chinese. Well, they also call them Chinese leeks. Chinese chives. Two new additions for the perennial alliums. This is Hooker's onion from Nepal, I believe. Which I'm not fond of the taste, but it's a new thing to start. It's more Chinese chives. This is really good cropper again. This is rocket, wild rocket. It grows bushy. It's perennial. It keeps coming back each year, and I've had this for 6 years. It grows enormous. Some comfrey, which I'm cropping to make comfrey tea to fertilise a garden. This is the cherry tree. Last year it was an enormous crop. I had people in the back garden scoffing away for ages, but this year, I only had about 30. I think the birds got the rest, or it was just a bad year, or it's biennial cropping, I don't know. This is Malabar spinach. It's a perennial, but it's very frost. It won't stand any frost. It's exotic. But I'm going to take cuttings, hopefully get them through the year, through the winter to next year. A bit like I do with the old blue basil, African blue basil. This I've had 2 years. I believe it's 3 years old. As you can see, look how woody it is. But it's really gorgeous smelling. The leaves aren't as thin as you get with ordinary sort of pesto basil. They're a bit thicker, like a lot of perennials, edibles. They're a bit they're not as nice as annuals, but it's got a gorgeous smell. Cut it fine. Over here we've got skirret. These are cuttings from this year. I did a video about this in the spring, and I dug one of them up. The roots weren't that big. I'm hoping by autumn they'll put a spurt on. My Taunton Dean cow, got a bit massacred by butterflies, and but this is a perennial brassica, perennial kale. It never flowers. Well, it does. It's like 1 in 20 in a really bad year, and it's continually crop it, and it's right next to that hedge, so it's quite vigorous. So I think it's a good permaculture plant. Here is his cousin, Daubenton, which is the French version. A bit of wildlife. This is the two-tone version of Daubenton, and that is a cutting of a perennial broccoli, nice style broccoli, which is next year I hope it will be big enough to have a nice crop. It's a cutting from this one over here. So you can take cuttings from side. You take a side shoot. Let's see if I can find one. Well, there's loads on, but you know, a little one. Oh shit! There's you can see the side shoots. You just rip them off the main stalk and put them in some compost. 20 days later, and it's a new plant. It puts on roots. Now these have big broccoli heads in next spring, late winter, early spring, and then by June it's looking it will look worse for wear. The leaves will all be hanging off, and then suddenly all these new sprouts come out. So it goes on for year after year. Well, they say 3 to 5 years. I'm hoping it will go on for longer. This is 3 years old. Here's me tomatoes. I mean, they are perennials, but we grow them as annuals. But what I've got is I've got cutting indoors. I'm hoping to overwinter it, but I don't think it's going to work. But I've had about a kilo off this so far. I mean, it's going to be the 1st of September tomorrow, so I'm hoping, you know, it's going to be better. I'm hoping these are going to ripe up nicely. These are my pears. It's turning into quite a productive pear tree now. Again, I've had about a kilo's worth of pears off there already. And they haven't quite ripened, but they are, you know, they're quite stiff to bite on, but they're sweet, and they'll be softer later in the year. But I get keen to eat them because they're sweet. These have been a bit of a star. I mean, look at them. They're like leeks. Look at the stalks, and they're Kyoto market, which is a Japanese bunching onion. They're perennial. Keep dividing, and they like I say, they're a bit like leeks, and you cut them to the ground, well, a centimetre above the ground or an inch, and they regrow like these I've done here, and just keep cutting them like chives, but they've got thick shanks, really oniony. They've been in the star this year. These haven't been a star. These are my runner beans. Probably because they've been growing in a pot, but I just cannot get the hang of growing legumes in this garden. I presume it's because all the hedges and undergrowth and dark places for slugs and snails. This bit, I'm hoping to get, I mean, there are a few on there, but like the French bean over here, I mean, I had about half a dozen and then it gave up the ghost. Still keeping there because I get a couple of flowers appearing, but well, I'm just looking at the leaves basically. Bit of a failure. It's been a bit of a failure as well. All the squashes have. The little gem. They're saying that I had about 1.5 kilos off my courgette. But little gem, there's a few small fruits coming up. It's my overwintered chilli. I would have had much more on this if I hadn't used such crap compost in the bottom, because I mean, look at it, it's wood chippings. How dare they call this compost? But anyway, quite tasty chilies, but this has been overwintered, so this is its 2nd year. Mitsuba, or Japanese parsley. Got that from Jecker's Herb Farm. It's a perennial. It's quite, it's reasonably tasty. It doesn't remind me of parsley, but the best thing about it is it's perennial, goes on for year after year. This is Kailan, Chinese broccoli. It's perennial. Skirret. I've cut it back, it was enormous, big umbels, flower umbels on it. Oh, there's some there. It's a root vegetable, it's perennial. You divide it like you would herbaceous perennial, and then eat the roots, and then put, leave 1 or 2 behind and put that back in the ground. There's Japanese bunch and onions, Crown Prince. I have to be careful, these tomatoes have got blight, so I'm just ripening off the last of the tomatoes and then try and get it down to the compost heap without infecting the other tomatoes at the end of the garden. Here's my butternut squashes. Now, I think they're a bad mistake for an English gardener, even in the south. They just, I mean, look, they're tiny. It's September the 1st, tomorrow. Look how small the fruits are. Am I going to get any fruits at all? You know, quite big plants, but they don't seem to want to fruit very well. And well, that's about it then. Oh, one last thing. My French Poireaux Perpetuelle, which are perennial leeks, they're coming back up. They go to sleep over the summer, you know, late summer, and now they're just coming up through the ground. And that's about it. See you all later.